Okay, welcome back to the comedy, everyone. Please like this video and please subscribe to this channel. So I did comedy and bad first dates, part 1 and 2. And listen, though there's probably more bad first dates than good first dates in most people's lives, and though it's funnier, now it's time to do comedy and good first dates. But there's only 2 of them, so this should be a shorter video. Okay, here we go. The first one, the name of the person was B. Let's say the name of the person was B. So this was actually, I had just started my job at BB&T, so we're talking many moons ago. And it was maybe the first, 5 or 6 months, maybe even the first 4 or 5 months that I was working there. And of course I figured I had at that point I was, much younger than now. I had a job secured, so I said, okay, maybe I'll try to meet someone. So I actually went to a speed dating event, very local in town. Very local. So after the day was through, all dressed up with a special, actually dressed up nice that day, with like a special red tie and a nice white crisp shirt and a suit. Though of course I didn't wear the suit jacket. I went to a burger joint in town. It was, very close to the bank, a mile or 2 away. Boca Raton. So I've never done anything like this in my life, but I thought it could be pretty exciting and pretty cool. So there were only maybe 5 or 6 dudes, and there were only, 6 or 7 girls there. So I sat down with every girl for 5 or 6 minutes, and I was very nice. Tried to build rapport with them and tried to see what they're all about and see what the deal is. And even though it was so long ago, I remember it was actually a really, really sweet group. So after it was all through, I let's say out of maybe 5 or 6 of them, I said yes to 3 or 4 of them. Maybe there were 1 or 2 who I thought just could never be a fit, and I said yes to 3 or 4 of them, let's say. Something like that. So afterwards, we all sat down and the hosts were really nice. It was just a really nice event. And we had drinks together a bit, and we had maybe some appetizers, half-price appetizers together, burgers together. And I spoke to all of them. I didn't really feel any special or amazing rapport with any of them to my capacity or to my recollection, but they all seemed nice, and 3 or 4 I said yes. Now thinking back, one thing you know about me, I'm incredibly naive when it comes to women in certain ways. If a girl likes me, even at this age, 7 or 8 years later, I think I'm a pretty smart guy, but I'm like the dumbest person in the world when it comes to that. So it turned like the entire time there was, one girl was sitting next to me. This is in retrospect. One girl was sitting next to me and, really not, I would say hanging on every word I had to say precisely, but really give me extra attention. I didn't know it then. If it happened to me right now, I still wouldn't even know it now. So, okay. Then, the girls get the emails and they email you and see what happens, and they eventually probably end up getting your phone number. So I ended up getting an email from this girl, and I remembered her. Okay. She seemed pretty successful. She seemed smart. She seemed bright. There were only 4 or 5 people there. So I said, okay, all right, sure. The way it works. I said, all right, sure. Here's my phone number. It was nice meeting you. We had obviously you felt we had a rapport, and I think that you're nice. Here's my phone number. So we chatted a little bit via text, and I remember I was actually at Brooks Brothers because I was buying new, special clothes for the job, because by that point it seemed like I might be there for a while. It only lasted over 5 years, so I think that's a while. But this was like 4 or 5 months in, and I was doing all right. So I said, okay, let me get some new suits, because I didn't really have much business clothes when I started. I was young. I never forget it. And I was really, it's not like I had that much practice with women. Hey, not much has changed in 7 or 8 years. So I left Brooks Brothers, and she started sending me some interesting text messages. I'm not saying there were any pictures attached or anything like that, but she was definitely a bit of a wordsmith. I was shocked. So, we decided to go out on the first date. It was my idea because she lived a little bit far, like 35 minutes away. So I said, let's go out to a show in the Hollywood Hard Rock Casino. So I'm standing at the Hollywood Hard Rock Casino with a bunch of people, and she shows up. And she looked, everything worked out pretty good. Now, this is how stupid and naive I am. She said that she wanted to get a drink. And where my mind went was, I guess I'm so intolerable that you need to get a drink the second you met me. But this is how men overthink things and think things the wrong way. No, she just got a drink. So we sat down the show, and we were, I tried to get there early. Now, this might not be an ideal first date, but it was the only thing I could come up with where she lived and where I lived. And we chatted the entire time, and we just had a really nice time. And as a matter of fact, it got so bad that we were talking during the comedy show, and the comedian actually called me out. He's like, "You're being so disrespectful. It's unbelievable." I didn't care about the comedian. So after it was all over, we talked the entire time. I had to tell you something. I was so nervous. It was unbelievable. But I moved in, and I kissed her. And we just, I don't want to go into, we just ended up sitting in there everybody had left. Let's just put it that way. And then we left, and this was, I got to admit, what happened next was pretty cool, and it's not like I planned it or anything like that. Now, at that time, I also had connections in the comedy club because I was performing there, or just kind of like stopped performing there because I started at the bank. The guy who owned the club, well, not owned it, but the guy who managed the club, who, liked me, who, I had a little rapport with, this really, cool guy who was like a teacher at the club and was very known. He saw me there with her, and he came over, and it was kind of obvious that he was a person of clout. And he came over, he's like, "Oh, Dominic, it's so good to see you." And he hugged me and gave me kind of accolades, and, she saw that. I didn't plan that. I mean, I just happened to see William that day, and I think that put it over the top. If it wasn't there already, which I think it was, not to sound cocky, but believe me, I was just as surprised as any of it. Not to sound cocky, but at that moment, the retarded person who doesn't have any brains would think that it's where it should be. So, I mean, it worked out. It definitely worked out, and that was, listen, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get the good dates. And that was a good date. And I guess I'll do the last third. We're going to make this 3 parts now, because I don't want this to go for too long. 3 parts.